Two friends, two minds, and one love for Arsenal Football Club. You are now listening to the Cod and Two Minds podcast.
What's up, everybody? What's really going on? Welcome to the podcast, Cod and Two Minds. It's Piss and Moan Monday. It's your boy E. Marshall here, and I'm joined as usual with my co-host, Fitty Mac, a.k.a. Guna Rush. Fitty, how's it going?
Hey. What's up, folks? Just chilling.
Little hey. What's happening back in the 80s?
What's happening?
Little Dwayne. For you kids, you're too young to know that. Get on YouTube and see what's up. But anyway, an okay week
don't you dare say rerun. Don't you dare say rerun.
Nah, no rerun caps here. But the big man was light on his feet, and
oh man,
I mean, what an
Fred Berry. You talking about Fred Berry?
What an athlete. I mean, jeez, and that voice, very sensitive. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not insinuating anything, but just an extremely sensitive, happy, jolly, light-skinned black man who can dance. But anyway, come on with the foolishness. Not a bad week for the Arsenal. Tuesday, Champions League against Luda. A great game. Luda is not a big club, even though they're owned by a rapper from Atlanta. They're not really a big club. Don't have any world-class players, but let me tell you, they can put some passes together and cause a lot of damage, and that's exactly what they did early on against Arsenal.
Ooh, the counter was deadly on us. They jumped right down our throat right from the start. So, but right in the beginning when they said, the Brazilians are linking up and shit, I'm like, anytime you hear that, like,
right. I mean, you could go to Brazil and throw a rock at a man and find a half decent footballer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's clearly what Ludacris is doing, because those little bastards was running around, linking up play, and they really caught us off guard. But the thing that pleased me the most was the way that Arsenal showed a little grit and determination. Some doubters or haters will say, "Oh gosh, they were playing against Ludacris, a team from Bulgaria." But I mean, they're not a bad team, and for us to fight back and get all 3 points was tremendous. It showed a lot. It's November, we usually go on a little slump in November, and for us to do that in this month, I mean, come on, hats off to the team.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as that goes, Real Madrid played Legia Warsaw.
Right.
And, had some problems.
Exactly.
I mean, it happens. It happens in Champions League sometimes.
Exactly. There's no easy games out there. And as Arsenal fans, we know that for sure. One of the things I kind of really wanted to discuss with you before we get into Ozil's goal, because, I know we're all chomping at the bit to discuss that. He's so calm. Look at him. He floats. He's dainty. But anyway, Ramsey started the game out wide, and there was some rifts on Twitter between support for Ramsey and what the fuck is Wenger doing? Get Ramsey out of there. Where are you at with Ramsey in the team at this stage? The way things have been going on.
Okay, so here's something that's just hilarious for me, that you and I been talking Arsenal for a long time.
Yes.
And we've been talking Ramsey for a long time now.
Yes.
And for many years, let's just say out of like maybe 5 or 6 years of truly analyzing and discussing Ramsey, there's only 1 year that we were like, maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Right. There's something there. Yeah.
But, he seems to be back to Hollywood Aaron.
Aaron two-touch Ramsey.
Two-touch Hollywood Ramsey himself. Like, I mean, if you just be a hard nosed, go after it kind of footballer instead of so cutesy and so I'm always gonna try to do the other thing instead of just playing football. Play football, man, because
Yes.
all the back passing and the
Yeah, it's just
tricky the
yeah, that
tricky back heel touches and
right. To me, he disrupts the flow of the team the way we're playing right now. My biggest thing with Aaron is exactly what you just said. I mean, that year he had that breakout year. It's probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. He had that breakout year. He kept things simple. He attacked when he was supposed to attack. His positioning, he was a little more disciplined, and he just kept things simple. You know what I mean? And he scored a lot of goals, and you could see that if he plays this way, this guy, he could become, a great player. But the thing with Ramsey now, I think, is the fact that
definitely.
he just really he's just, I don't know. Maybe it's gotten to his head. He's just a little too fancy now. I'll always say this: Wenger's never doing him any favors by playing him out right. His best position is where Ozil plays. That's where he played in the Euros. Wells was successful. That's his best position. He's not going to play there for this team on a consistent basis because he's not better than Ozil. But like I said, squad depth, bodies, that's a hell of an option to have for resting Ozil is playing Ramsey there. Playing him out wide right, you're going to get him running all over the place and trying to do tremendous shit. But although I will say this, that was a great cross to Giroud against Ludacris.
I love the way he laid it up there. He got a little air under it, so it kind of floated to Giroud, where Giroud had plenty of time to kind of size it up and figure out how he was going to put a head on it.
Yes.
To credit Ramsey for what I believe he does best and why he belongs down the middle of the pitch when he plays is he's kind of a free spirit, man, and Wenger seems to let him be a free spirit. And if that's the case, it's kind of better to have him down the middle where he can go left or right. He can make runs in any direction, and it kind of leaves your defenders kind of having to keep an eye on him because you don't know where he's going to end up. So first, his first best position, like you said, is where Ozil plays. But to me, his second best position is truly, like in that defensive mid position. If he can't play up top,
Santi role, kind of
like a Santi role, and not because he plays that really well, but it does leave him in the middle of the pitch. And because we run two defensive mid, you got somebody else to kind of work with him. So, that would be his second best position, I believe.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where he came in. We'll discuss the North London Derby here in a few, but that's where he came in today. And I didn't see too much from him from that position. But yes, that's where he kind of started with the team. That year he had a breakout year. That's where he was playing most of the time. So I completely agree. But I just think, during the Euros this year at Wales, he showed me a lot playing right behind Bale as the number 10. And, it to me, it fits his style because, you can sneak an extra touch in there. You can try to do something fancy to maybe create a goal, create an opportunity. You don't really have to you really don't have to be too disciplined on defense as far as chasing all the way back. And we all know how much he likes to get forward. So I just think him playing that Ozil role is going to be his best position. But I just think at this point and the style in which he plays, all the fancy shit, I just don't think his ego is going to allow him to sit behind Ozil. And that's fine, Wenger's just going to have to make a big decision, whether we sell him or keep him or, convince him that's what he's going to have to do. But forcing him out wide over somebody like Ox, and I get it, he hasn't played in a while. Maybe try to get him back to fitness, rest Ox or Theo or whoever. I get all that, but I just don't want to see him out wide.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Ramsey playing in the middle. Just don't want to see him out wide because you're really not getting the best out of him. And, it's just like playing Theo as a lone striker. What's the point, really? So,
yes.
But
The
anyway, go ahead.
I believe a lot of the support that he may have gotten on midweek was basically people just missing him. Like happy for him
True,
that he's
true,
back on the pitch and
true,
playing. You know,
true.
I think if they were honest with themselves, it's not his outstanding play that they
Exactly.
are supporting. It's more just, hey, he's another piece of the team, and it's good to
Right.
see our bodies coming back.
Exactly, and yeah, that to me that's the biggest difference this year, as far as the way we play is the fact that we have bodies and we can rotate, and those players are coming in and doing well. Gibbs kind of had a rough game, but at the same time we won, and we were able to rest Monreal, and he, we'll talk about the North London double, but I thought Monreal looked really good out there today. So anyway,
Yes.
back to Ludacris. The goal of the year so far, Ozil with the winner. What are some of your thoughts on the goal? And I'll give you some of mine. The game-winning goal late in the game. I mean, I just started laughing and giggling when I think about it because it was just such a thing of beauty, and the way it was just basically it was everything you love about Ozil just in one snapshot. You know what I mean?
That's just what I was gonna say. If you were gonna try to explain who Ozil is to somebody that hasn't watched, or
Right.
like you want to show that play, and it's obvious that he's a special talent that very few players have the skills he has. Like,
Yes.
it's not just the wonderful touch and the cut in, but it's the awareness.
Right.
It's the understanding that, let me see, I have to figure out a way to get in position to put this in the back of the net, and only Ozil would have came up with that way.
Right.
Well,
yeah. Just a lot of things get lost in the goal. And Giroud chasing back to win the tackle,
Yes.
just tremendous, and El Nini getting it and just making the softest, most beautiful pass to Ozil, and to, like you said, the awareness. Giroud chases back, wins the tackle. It goes right to El Nini, and Ozil's off. You know what I mean? He's off. And El Nini knows that, and he gets the ball to him in space. And it was just basically, 4 touches of pure beauty. The first 2 were just class. But then the second 2, to put both defenders on their ass, was just Ozil showing off. You know what I mean? Just Ozil being Ozil. I mean, it was just...
it gave me chills. It gave me chills, watching it. I was like, wow, look at this guy.
I was like, oh, shit. And here's the biggest thing. The composure, the epitome of calmness and composure, because the game is on the line, dude. You know what I mean? Can you imagine if Ox or Theo were in that position? You know what I mean? They would have, on that second touch, they would have shit the bed. They would have freaked the fuck out and kicked. You know what I mean? They wouldn't even tried those second 2 touches to get around everybody and guarantee a goal. They would have just freaked out. But I mean, that's the beauty of Ozil. He gets on a lot of people's nerves. There's a question, is he world class? Based on that goal in that situation, he's definitely world class, and just a thing of beauty.
Hey, there's a couple of Arsenal fans jacking off over the fact that Ozil's amazing, but I just just a little note about Ozil and his play. There's a little bit of difference this year, so people have been a little quick to call him out for being off today or being off. But, I'm going to note the one thing that I have seen, which came through in that one, is, like you just mentioned, his awareness to just take off on the run. He's doing a lot more of that. When he sees, the possibility of getting behind the defenders, you're seeing a whole lot more of that from Ozil this year.
Yes.
And I think he's going through a slight change in... this is, when they always talk about the adjustment to the Premier League or something like that, he's going through a slight change in his game right now that, maybe some parts have been lacking a little bit, but then other things are probably well more improved because of it.
Exactly. Getting forward a lot more and trying to score goals. That's
Yeah.
what everybody has been screaming about for the last few years. And that's the last piece of the puzzle with him. He can pass the ball anywhere. He can put the ball anywhere. He has great touch. So there was really no reason for him to not score more goals, but just him getting a kick out of providing for everybody. But this year you can really see him pushing forward, get in the box, and scoring more goals. And, and that could be because Alexis is playing. You know what I mean? Whereas Giroud is a little more back to goal. Kick it to me and I'll bounce it right back to you. Alexis, he's all over the place. He's looking up. He's putting crosses in the box. He does it all. And I think him and Ozil, that relationship it's really, it's looking good as far as Ozil scoring goals.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that'll do it for the Champions League game against Ludacris. Luda, throw them bowls. Cadillac Grill. No, I'm sorry. But anyway,
Yeah.
Sunday morning, before we get into the North London Derby, I want to commend all the American gunners out there who get up early on the weekend. West Coast today would have been, 4 o'clock in the morning?
4 a.m.
Actually, no. Yeah, 4 a.m. Here it was 6 a.m. East Coast is 7. You know what I mean? We get a lot of, we don't get a lot of slack over here, but, people might not realize that, we really do love this shit because we're getting up at the crack of dawn to watch this shit. Hats off to American gunners and gunners all over the world. What am I saying? Well, I might just gotta narrow it down like that.
Yeah. I mean, I love my England brothers, but hey, that game started at noon for y'all, okay?
Right.
So
yeah,
you got a little breakfast in. I'd imagine you got a couple pints in as well.
Exactly. Couple.
And you went and enjoyed a Sunday afternoon game. Well, shit, I went to bed at 2 o'clock this morning, y'all.
Right. Well, and it was completely dark outside when the game was on. But you know what I mean? But that's beside the point. All right, North London Derby, 1-1 draw. An exciting game, but at the same time, it was just, a little weird, a little disjointed. Not a lot of, it was a good game to watch from an attacking and defending point of view, but at the same time, it wasn't the best game of football played as far as both teams. And that has a lot to do with midweek. That's my theory. Coming off a midweek game, both teams didn't really play the best they could play, but, it was an enjoyable game. Before we get into it, when I saw the team sheet for Tottenham, I almost shit myself because I didn't think Harry Kane would play, and I didn't think Dembele would play because he got hurt in the Champions League game. Harry Kane scares the shit out of me because he always scores goals against Arsenal, and he did again today. And Dembele, the way he glides around the pitch with the ball at his feet, you can't take the damn ball from that motherfucker. He's just smooth, and to go along with that, the first half of the game, Tottenham had a lot of the possession, to me.
Oh, man. Controlled the ball. They showed a couple close-ups on Dembele, and he's a smooth-looking player. But I tell you what, which I actually you can go down the list of Tottenham players, and I got to say, probably the best mix of speed and strength in the league. Maybe they're all pretty fast and they're all pretty big. Dembele is a big dude, man.
Yeah,
he is a big son of a bitch.
You got Walker, the right back. He's a monster who's extremely fast. I'd love to see him in Bellerin race, instead of Bellerin and fucking the Jamaican dude, Usain Bolt. Bad man. But they all look like a bunch of dicks, though. That's the thing with Tottenham. You know, if it was like,
Yeah.
you know, your high school movies, you know what I mean? You got the little group of bullies, you know, they're all fancy. That's who Tottenham remind me of. You know what I mean? The high school bullies, you know, like Walker and fucking Vertonghen.
Yeah.
Just, you know, get out of
Well,
here.
and to note, I mean, you know, I mean, if you want to like bring up the argument, like, you know, like, can pure athleticism be enough? Or, you know, like, I think they do lack a slight bit of skill compared to like the other big clubs, you know, which makes the Spuds a small club. Yeah, I said it, a
Yeah.
small club. You know,
Yeah, I mean, bless their hearts. You know what I mean? They try, they fight, they you know, they do, you know, they do everything. You know, hey, you know, we can giggle and talk all the shit we want, but you know, they got a draw. You know, they fought back to a draw today. But anyway, yeah. So to me, the game, you know, went down to composure. You know, which team had a little more composure, and I think Tottenham. Throughout the game showed that they had a little more composure. They were a little more calm, and you know, they were just playing composed, whereas we were, you know, we weren't, to me, because the Iwobi chance is, you know,
Yeah.
clearly an opportunity to score an easy goal after Alexis just laid it out there for him on a plate. And you could kind of see, like the announcer said, he was leaning back and he didn't strike it as good as he could have. Ozil on the rebound from Theo's shot. You know, that's a shot that Ozil's going to make. And he kind of just, you know, tried to one-time it and, you know,
Yeah.
over the bar. And, you know, we're going to end on the composure note with Koscielny. You know what I mean? He freaked out. He freaked out and put a foot in on Dembele, and it was a penalty. When I first saw it, I didn't think it was, but when I saw it again, it was like, yeah, you know, you can't be doing shit like that right there. So, you know, to me, that's where the game was on the balance, was as far as composure. They were more composed. We weren't. If we had a little more composure, we could have easily won that game. 3-1.
Yeah, I tell you what, a pissy person, somebody that just wanted to have an attitude about the game, though,
Yeah.
could put it on the backs of the fucking ref, that Mark Clattenburg.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, it was a foul by Koscielny. I'm not going to argue that. But, you know, 2 minutes later on the other side of the pitch, when they shove Alexis down onto the ground, that's a foul too.
Exactly.
You know? And Koscielny's is not a yellow. It's not a yellow.
No. Nope, you're right. And if just because it's in the box, because it's not a bad challenge. It's a foul, but it's not a yellow card. You're right.
Yeah, you can clearly see what he was going after, and he just barely missed the ball, man. I mean, you know, it was a bad play, but it's not a yellow. And, you know, I thought a few times that, you know, he got it wrong. He called some a yellow that shouldn't have been. He called others, you know, he didn't call other calls that probably should have been yellows. Like,
Yes, and let me just throw this in there because this is part of my piss and moan. So I'm gonna piss now since you're already pissing on Clattenburg. Yes, to me he completely ruined the second half of the game with all the little touchy ticky tack fouls that he kept calling. You know, it was a situation where the rhythm and the flow of the game just constantly kept getting ruined by this guy. You know, I mean, you weren't calling fouls all game. Sometimes you were, sometimes you weren't. But in the second half, to me, it just seemed like, I mean, it's a derby. You know what I mean? There's going to be a little physicality. There's going to be, you know, I just didn't think he had to stop play as much as he did. And when he did, a lot of the times he would stop play and Arsenal would have an advantage. You know what I mean? And like we'd be going on with the ball and he'd call us back. So I mean, to me, he's not as bad as Atkinson's, but he's always the guy who likes to put his stinky fingers all over the game. He wants to put his imprint on the game. And, you know, we're pissing right now. It wasn't as bad. You know, we're a little biased. But to me, I just think he ruined the rhythm of the game in the second half with all those little touchy fouls. Kind of like the ludicrous ref. I mean, that motherfucker. Jeez.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez.
Anyway.
But they only had real one fiery moment where Vertonghen he ran up the back of somebody.
It was Theo. Yeah.
It was Theo. And everybody got in each other's face for a minute. And, like, it seemed like from that point on, Clattenburg was like, I'm going to take control of this match.
Yeah. Wayama, the the crazy African, he popped Theo in the head with an elbow, and Vertonghen came running up to tell Theo to get his bitch ass up, and yeah. So
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, because he kind of from that point on he kind of stopped letting the game go. You know what I mean? He didn't want it to get out of hand. But yeah. So any other thing you want to piss him on about? I got one more.
You know what? It's not really. I'm gonna moan. I'm not pissing, but I'm gonna moan.
Okay. Yeah.
That fucking Ox, dude.
Oh,
I can't.
When he came in,
gosh,
yeah.
I can't get over the inconsistent play from this guy, man.
That is such a good point, dude. I forgot about that shit. I was like,
God, he was a sloppy mess out there. Like, just kicking passes to the wrong places, kicking balls 9 rows deep into the fucking crowd. Like,
you're so right. He had a few opportunities for just some nice, easy crosses, and he kicked that shit like way. I mean, yeah, he came in and completely shit the bed, did he? He did. That's a good point. And Ramsey too. Ramsey wasn't as bad. He just couldn't really. He really just couldn't connect on the passes. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's such a great point with Ox, though. That's such a great point.
I just like, how can you capture the hearts of everybody for like a week and a half and then come out here and fucking shit the bed? Shit the bed today, like you.
In a huge situation too. That's such a good point. I forgot about Ox because I was tripping. I was like, man, this motherfucker has lost his mind. Look at him. He doesn't know what he's doing. Some of those crosses, look, I laugh now, but some of those crosses were pitiful. And I mean, he had time, he had space, and he just kicked it over the goalie. Like, I mean, out of bounds, just ridiculous. Yeah. Great point. Yeah. One of the things I want to piss him on about is something silly, but it was a tactic I use all the time in FIFA. A few years ago when I play little kids online. You know what I mean? When they get a penalty, you know what I mean? Like, I would act like I was going to move to the right or to the left. And then my favorite shit in the world is when I just stood there and caught that motherfucker right down the middle. You know what I mean? Because the kids is going, everything fucking connection lost. You know what I mean? I'm getting cussed out on my headset. Just the pure frustration of it all. And I just thought, like, for some reason, I had a flashback. I was like, man, Czech should just stay down the middle like I used to do in FIFA. You know what I mean? Just stay down the middle. I think this is, for some reason, I don't know why I thought Harry Kane was going to just kick it down the middle. Maybe because, I don't know why. Just, I'm being silly. I'm like, damn, he should do what I do on FIFA. But, yeah, you don't really see keepers do that a lot, dude. But that shit worked for me for, like, shit, the whole season 2 years ago on FIFA. Like, fuck it. Which way you going to go? Oh, gosh, I'm going to the right. I'm going to the left. And when they kick it, you just stand right in the middle and catch that shit.
It's such a crapshoot. So, I mean, it's just as much of the percentages are just as close to just stay right down the middle than they are to go left or right. I mean, you don't know.
Exactly. Especially in big games when, assholes do get tight, people get nervous. You know what I mean? In big situations, to me, I think it's a little more reasonable to gamble on them kicking it down the middle. You just really never see goalkeepers do that because, I heard some people saying, well, you just look really bad when you just stand there and it goes to either side. But come on, either way you're going to look bad. That makes no sense at all. You know what I mean? I don't want to look bad, so I'll just fucking pick a way to dive. It's like, come on. That doesn't work for me. But anyway, that's. I mean, if you got anything else you want to go ahead.
He did come close with the leg though. I did trip for a
second. He dove. He
kind of kicked his leg up, and I was like, oh, he almost got it. Like,
he did. But anything else you want to piss him on about?
Not really. I mean, I don't know if it. I don't think it falls under a piss and moan. But I was just going to ask you, like, the new sexy trend, the new sexy formation is this 3 in the back thing. As more and more teams seem to be kind of testing it out and stuff. And in my opinion, what it does is bring just a different flavor to the pitch. That if you're facing that squad, you're kind of forced to kind of figure it out. You got to feel it
Right.
out for a second, try to figure it out a little bit, And I mean, it's kind of the same thing at that one point when it seemed like everybody started going to like 4-5-1, 4-5-1 for a while.
Yes. The
Um,
Conte, Chelsea coach, he's kind of brought that to the Premiership. He's very successful with it at Juventus. Um, you kind of get the best of both worlds with it, as far as attacking and really defending well, because you kind of have wing backs. You know what I mean? And if you got really good wing backs who can kind of attack and defend, which what's his name, Victor Moses has been a revelation this year as far as being able to do that. It really allows it really allows you, like somebody like Hazard, to not really have to worry about defending and
not having to track back.
not really having to track back as much. And you can see the results this year. That little bastard's on fire, and so are Chelsea. Chelsea and Liverpool.
Yeah.
I was gonna talk about that. Big wins for both of them. They beat the shit out of both teams they played, and it all goes back to my little theory. No midweek games. Don't have to worry about that. And if you got world class players who you can train and teach shit to all week, you know what I mean? That's my biggest fear this year for Arsenal. And like I said, I could care less about any other cup. I really want to win the league this year. I think it's going to be Wenger's last year, and it'd be great to see him win the league and get out. But it's going to be tough this year because Liverpool and Chelsea don't have midweek games. And the sooner we can get out of the, the Carling Cup, the FA Cup, and we can just maybe concentrate on league and going as far as we can in Champions League, the better. Because it's not looking too good. It really isn't. Because they're just going to keep getting better because they have time and they're able to rest players. And it's and Liverpool, whatever crack cocaine Leicester City was using last year, Klopp's got his hands on some, and he's distributing amongst his team because they're just running around like crackheads, destroying people. I think they beat a team 6-1 today. I don't even know the team. Who they play? Watford. Troy Deeney, big face. And they're a team that'll fight you. You know what I mean? Literally.
Planet Rock. Planet Rock will fight you to the end. Rock to the Planet Rock. Don't stop.
But yeah. They who else?
But I think exactly what you're seeing out of Liverpool now is exactly what everybody was like wondering if Klopp could reproduce again like he did at Borussia Dortmund, where at one point he had Borussia Dortmund kind of the same way, running around like fucking maniacs all over the field, just causing havoc, And it kind of looks like he struck magic again,
Right.
I mean,
exactly. And to go along with my point, the playing that style is very grueling on your team throughout the season. You know what I mean? He has a reputation for losing finals and, teams just kind of petering out, kind of like Tottenham last year. When you play that hardcore pressing style, it takes a lot out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you're playing, multiple games throughout the week, it kind of wears on your squad. And the bonus this year for them is the fact that, hey, one game a week, we can, smoke some crack cocaine and just go out there and destroy people, basically. They have time to recuperate, and it's just really kind of a blessing for them to only be playing once a week with that style. You know what I mean? I think if Tottenham didn't go as far as they did last year in the UEFA Cup, they might have won the league last year. But I just think that style of play is so grueling, and I think that's why a lot of teams don't really try to play it all the time. Whereas Liverpool and Klopp, that's his style. That's what they do. And I think, one game a week is going to help them out a long ways this year.
Yeah. And nah. I just say no to drugs. I just say no to drugs.
Yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, You know, Liverpool's on that shit, man. I watched that game today, and motherfuckers, you know, they weren't even blinking and shit. They were just like staring into the camera. I was waiting for somebody to blink their eyes, and they were just like geeked, like hyped, like fucking Blitzkrieg.
And you take a good look at Klopp with those glasses too, and it looks like it looks like he's about to release like the next big app for iPhone or something.
Right.
Like
right. He's working on the next spaceship to Mars, and he's getting excited because it's right around him. Anyway, what are we talking about? A couple other things before we get out of here. Fans talk a lot of shit about Pogba, but did you see his goal today? Off the half volley.
I didn't.
Just a thing of beauty. He's still a jerk off with the haircuts and the dancing and shit, but that big fucker, he could play some soccer, football. Excuse me. Any inspiration? You got anything?
I got
your whole demeanor changes every time I ask you that too.
Well, I really got nothing going on because I'm telling you, hey, I love Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I also love the Oakland Raiders. And
okay.
I'm about an hour away from watching the Raiders play their derby. This is their derby.
Right. Yes.
Raiders versus Denver.
Yeah. Excited. I can't wait. I know I live in Texas right now, but 15 years in the Bay. I'm really excited because I just don't like Denver. I like the Raiders. I'm kind of afraid for the Raiders though. I really am. Von Miller in that secondary.
Inspirational wise for everybody, I'm gonna give you a Raider quote. Just win, baby.
I love it.
Just win, baby.
Rest in peace, Al. Big Al. Mine is gonna be listen for your dreams or passions. We get bogged down with a lot of bullshit, work, kids, dumbass friends, girlfriends, wives, and you get distracted, so during this international break, put the phones down, get off the computer, get your dick out of your hand, put the game controllers down, and,
what do you say
and listen to your soul, listen and try to find out what it is that you can do to find your goals, do your passions. Cause what's the saying? If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And I just think, us as humans, we should always be trying to do that. So that's what I'm gonna be doing during the international break.
I like that.
Come on,
that's
man.
Inspirational.
Come on, man.
I like that.
Solid. What the fuck? You're embarrassing me right now. Okay, we're about to get out of here. I gotta go. Raider game. What are we doing?
International break coming up, y'all. When we come back from international break, Man United. Boom. Right there.
I love it. For those people all over the world listening to this podcast, USA Mexico is going to be a cracker of a game. It always is. We're playing them in Columbus. Last few times we beat them 2-0. We're going to come back on Monday, God willing, next Monday, the 14th, and discuss that game. We're going to do a show because it's a cracking game. And, can't wait for that one. Interested to see what Jurgen's going to do. No matter how good we are or where we're at as a country of soccer, Mexico's still good, so that's always a hell of a game.
You can argue this is the only game that matters. I mean,
right?
Great point. This is the one that matters.
Exactly. If we can get 3 points here, and we'll go to Aztec and either lose or draw. Actually, lose. The motherfuckers play at altitude. There's smog and drug dealers everywhere. I'm just kidding with the drug dealers. There's drug dealers here
and
too.
Fools throwing
bags of piss.
Piss on the players.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a huge game for the United States. We must get 3 points here, and if we're able to do that, then we can kind of be like, okay, we're gonna make it to the World Cup, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's gonna, can't wait to watch that game on Friday. That's gonna do for the show. We're gonna end it right now. We're ending this bitch. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast, Caught in Two Minds. It was Piss Him on Monday. If you want to interact with the show, follow us. I always say look for us on Twitter, but it's follow us on Twitter at CITM Podcast. And you can follow me, eMarsho, at eMarsho, EMARSHO. And, thanks for tuning in.
Hey, you can get me at Twitter, at Gooner Rush, Gooner Rush. And don't forget to please subscribe, rate, review on iTunes. Check us out. Tell a friend. Leave a comment if you can, or just give us some feedback. If you got feedback, you want to hear, you want to talk with us, you want to bitch us out, you want to tell us we're stupid for our take on Hollywood two-touch Arsenal. Excuse me,
two-touch Ramsey.
Two-touch Ramsey. Then you can reach us over at CITM Podcast at Gmail. All right.
That'll do it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Caught in Two Minds. Please head on over to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and review the show. All feedback is much appreciated. If you would like to contact the show, drop us an email at citmpodcast@gmail.com. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at CITM Podcast, at Gooner Rush, and at eMarshall. That's EMARSHO. The music in this podcast has been provided by Statics. If you like what you hear, be sure to check them out at staticsentertainment.com and follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Statics Music. That's STATX Music. Peace.